So guys, Indonesia is being added for War Thunder with the new helicopter, Mi-2035 actually. It's a Mi-24P, right? But the Mi-35 coming for the Japanese Tech 3, right? And it made me wonder, what are the other aircraft that we can see in the Japanese Tech 3 from Indonesia? Yeah, we just got the Thai, but the Indonesians actually have a lot of cool options. Some controversial ones even, I must say, right? So let's talk a little bit about three options. And of course, at the end of the day, I will mention some other ones that, you know, just to open your mind of how many cool aircraft this nation had or has. But in a general sense, these are the three ones that I think are the most interesting one for the Japanese Tech 3. So we start off with the CAC Sabre. Yes, they did use the CAC Sabre, which if you don't know, it's the Australian Sabre, right? Of course, it was developed together with the US, but in a general sense, it has two major changes that makes to be one of the, or if not the coolest Sabre of them all, and it just needs to be added. The first one is that it has, instead of the normal guns, 50 cals or 20 millimeters, it has two 30 millimeter Aiden cannons. Yes, the same cannon that you see in the Hunter, you would see in the Sabre, which is insane. Of course, this vehicle can also be added, for example, for the British, obviously, for Australia, right? But this would be for the Japanese, of course, the objective of the video. But anyway, just showing that this vehicle needs to be added. The second thing is that they added a Rolls-Royce Avon engine. Yes, the Avon. So, of course, the Orenda one from the Canadians is already pretty cool, but this one is also pretty amazing, right? The Avon produces an enormous amount of thrust for such an aircraft, right? And together with the Aidens, together with the possibility of using AIM-9s if they want to add it, it would be one of the, like I said, or the coolest Sabre that we would have in the game. Amazing performance, amazing guns, and yeah, just a very interesting aircraft that I don't understand why we already don't have it in the British Tech 3, right? And I mean with the Australians. So having it as a Japanese vehicle as well, it would help Japan have some form of different Sabre there in the lower ranks, rank 5 and stuff. It would be very, very cool. So this is the first one. So just for you to have an idea, it produces almost a third more thrust than the J47 engine on the F86 F40, right? So yeah, a lot more power and a lot more punch with the 30 millimeters than a 50 cal, of course. Then we have a second one that it's a more common vehicle to the game, but still would be very cool to see in the Japanese Tech 3, even maybe changing up some of the vehicles that we have there. So the F-16, in a general sense, can be added there. The Indonesians used the A models, upgraded A models like the AM, right? Just like we have with the Belgians in France. And also the F-16C as well, right? So in a general perspective, we could see versions of the F-16 being added by many upgrades done to it. I mean, technically we can have like 3 versions out of it. One of them could be changing, for example, the actual F-16AJ, for example, just changing from that. We already have the OCU, so the AM, I don't know if it would have too much of a place, but adding the F-16C would be kind of interesting there. Any F-16 would be cool to see, right? So the Indonesians, like I said, use these aircraft. It's a little bit less interesting than the Sabre because it's kind of a copy-paste, but at the same time, it is a Tech 3 that kind of craves more aircraft, more options into their Tech 3, so Indonesia can bring the F-16 to it, okay? And here is the controversy one, guys. So not only they can use an F-16 and some other things, but there are some Russian aircraft over here as well, including the Su-27 SKM, which would be very similar to the SM version of the Su-27, and the Su-30 Mk2, which is a complete different version than the SM that we have, but it's an older version, etc. Not gonna get too much into it, but flankers in general can be added here. This is the controversy one that I was talking about. Should we see these? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. It would bring a lot of flavor to the Japanese Tech 3 because it would bring something that it's completely crazy to have there. So you tell me in the comments if you would like to see, but there is the option of flankers being added, which would have similar, like similar-ish kind of performances to the other Su-27s that we have, right? In a general perspective, guys, this is Indonesia, right? Indonesia can bring a lot of different things. It can bring Western and Eastern stuff. And that's the thing. That's why it's good to be added in Japan, because it has so many options. With this sub-tree, together with the Thai sub-tree in here, it would mean that the Japanese tech tree would be one of the coolest nations for you to get. And why is that? Because at the end of the day, guys, where else you could get something like a Sabre, also an F-16, Su-27s maybe, but having the Mitsubishi F2, having the F-15J, right? So it's a very unique tech tree. It would become a very unique tech tree, in my opinion, because of these kind of different versions of vehicles that we already have, in a general perspective, just helping the Japanese tech tree, right? And the last thing that I wanted to talk about, have in mind that Indonesia used a lot of different vehicles. They used MiG-17s, 19s, 21s, F5s, A4s. So yeah, Tu-2s, B-25s, Tu-16s. You know, it's, yeah, and even today, I mean, like I said, the Su-27, Su-30, but they also use the T-50 Golden Eagle, which is a trainer that they have that looks similar-ish to an F-16, kind of. They have the Hawk trainer. They even have the Tucano, a Brazilian aircraft, right? And also in the future, they have orders on Rafales, on the KF-21, the South Korean, kinda was supposed to be a stealth 5th generation jet, but then it's being considered to be something else. It doesn't matter, the KF-21, right? And even the Taycan, which is apparently they ordered, if I'm not mistaken, this already, which is the new Turkish 5th generation jet, right? I don't know how much of these will be produced, how they will be produced, how they will be added into, you know, real life air forces and everything. But this is one of the most unique air forces in the world of how different stuff they have. Is it a bad or a good choice to have this in Japan specifically? You tell me, because in my opinion, the only thing that really is bringing this down as a bad choice would be kind of a proudness, I would say, of having the Japanese tech tree kind of pure with Japanese vehicles, technically, right? But remember, the Japanese tech tree mostly is made by American aircraft anyway, right? And now with the Thai, it's already kind of mixed as well, right? So would it be a bad thing? My opinion, no. It would just make that tech tree one of the best in the game for you to research. Having the possibility of 5th generation jets being added, you know, F-16s, flankers, T-50s, and so on, right? So let me know in the comments what you think, and I see you guys on the next one. So bye guys, subscribe.